It's the sequel everyone was waiting for literally since the end credits of the last one, Avengers: The Age of Ultron. After one of the most hyped up and biggest blockbusters of all time came out, everyone was waiting what the second one was gonna be. Was it gonna be bigger? Was it gonna be better? Was it gonna be funnier? In some respects, yeah, it is all those things. In other respects, it's kinda hard to keep the wow factor going after such a groundbreaking last one. Does that make it bad? No. Does that make it better than the first one? It's complicated. Okay, let's look at the setup. The Avengers assemble once again in order to get Loki's scepter. They didn't meet up for all those other times the world was about to be destroyed. It's a comic book, don't think about it. But Tony Stark's mind is manipulated by another character called Scarlet Witch, who makes him see a destroyed future that apparently he's responsible for. Like an idiot, he reads it as, I didn't do enough, so he creates this computer that's apparently gonna create peace in our time. Oh, come on. He didn't think that maybe this is what would cause all those terrible things to happen? Because, you know, the audience is 10 steps ahead of him on that. But whatever, he creates this computer program known as Ultron. Ultron, of course, wants to create peace in his time, but in the way that he knows how. By getting rid of everyone. Oops, forgot to overlook that glitch. So now Ultron is trying to destroy the world by making tons of different versions of himself, trying to raise a giant city as a meteor and smash it into the world. And the Avengers have to overcome their new mental problems as well as new physical problems in order to stop him. So yeah, pretty weak plot, but again, the first film had a pretty weak plot too, and that didn't matter. We just wanted to see the Avengers get together and fight and work off each other and say those great one-liners. And in Avengers 2, we get all that. Plus more, actually. There's a wonderful scene where they've all been mentally ripped apart and so they go to this cabin to try and get away. It's easily the best thing in the film because we haven't seen anything like that before. It felt like the Avengers were actually evolving as characters, and through a way that they haven't really done yet. So in some respects, it's exactly what we wanted, but in others, don't we want to see something we didn't know we wanted? Like that cabin scene? And don't get me wrong, I love that cabin scene, but why is there only one scene like this in the movie and not more? It's kind of weird because the film does kind of feel like it's on repeat. Here's all these action scenes, all these one-liners, and they're good, they're well done, there's nothing wrong with them, but there's nothing really new about them either. The wow factor from this is kind of gone because there aren't really any new Avengers for them to interact off of. I mean, okay, there's this Scarlet Witch and this fast guy, and they create this other one called the Vision, and at the end they're indicating that there's even more being added to the mix, but all these other characters had their own movies. Half of these people are being introduced in this film, and the other ones, they were just kind of side characters. We're not exactly excited to see them here. Now, they're not bad, but they're no Thor, Iron Man, or Captain America. There's also a totally out-of-nowhere romance between Black Widow and the Hulk, and it's good. Again, not bad, but I'm not exactly gonna lose sleep if I don't see them get together. But again, it is evolving the characters to a different place than when we started. I do feel I found out more about these people after watching this film than I did after watching the first Avengers. That's something that was really missing in the last movie. But with everything else, even if it's done good, the investment isn't quite as strong because we kinda seen this stuff before. A bad guy who doesn't see destroying the world as a bad thing and he tries to make up some philosophical bullshit about why it's not. People being hypnotized to do his will, the whole world about to be destroyed in one city. And again, I hate talking this way because it's done well. In many respects, it's done better than the first film, but it's not evolving anything that much. And don't get me wrong, the audience had a fun time with this. They were laughing, they were applauding, they were gasping, they were doing all the things that an audience is supposed to do. But when it was all said and done, there wasn't this standing ovation like there was at the first film. Because the first film gave us a lot of what we never saw and really wanted to see. This gave us what we thought we were going to see. So it's hard to say, because on the one hand, it is kind of better than the original. We do learn more about these people, there is that wonderful scene at the house. The action is upped, there are more one-liners, we do see a lot more of the Avengers together. Hell, there's literally one scene where they're just hanging out at a party. I could just watch this the whole entire time, they're so interesting. I guess the real problem is, it's not an experience. It's a sequel to an experience, trying to clearly be better, and in some cases it is, but because we've already seen a lot of this before, it's not as much blowing us away. but it's still a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. Does it have stuff that doesn't make sense, and are there elements that are clearly filler for other movies? Sure, but so did the first one. I don't think this is the groundbreaking sequel they were hoping for, but at the same time, we didn't get a bad film, by any means. I think if they did want to blow us away, they would include a lot more, like why aren't the Guardians of the Galaxy in there? Why wasn't there a Spider-Man cameo? You just got him. Now don't get me wrong, these are all tie-ins that maybe I don't understand. I mean, the fact that any of this is happening in Hollywood is pretty amazing, so maybe they couldn't pull it off. But that's the reason people weren't as blown away. They wanted a lot more, and instead they got a little more. In many respects, I do like this more than the first one. Hell, I probably prefer watching this one to the first one. But it's not the groundbreaking follow-up that I think audiences, as well as the studio, was hoping for. But hell with what it is and concentrate on what it is. A lot of fun and really enjoyable. If you don't go in overhyped and just want to see the Avengers being the Avengers, this is definitely a fun one to check out. Assemble your team of friends and take a look.